The ordinary man. It is late. The house is quiet, and somewhere in the dark, a story waits. This is the story of Dennis Rader, a man who lived two lives, one in daylight, one in shadow. Dennis Lynn Rader was born in Kansas in 1945. He grew up in Wichita, a flat, wide city where the wind moves across open land. He was not remarkable as a child, not brilliant, not troubled in any visible way, just ordinary. He joined the Air Force. He married in 1971, a woman named Paula. They had two children. He worked for ADT Security Services, installing alarms in people's homes. Later, he became a compliance officer for Park City, a small suburb of Wichita. He measured lawns. He issued citations for overgrown grass and improperly stored trash. He attended church every Sunday. He was a Cub Scout leader. To his neighbors, Dennis Rader was boring, strict perhaps, a little too concerned with rules, but boring. And for more than 30 years, no one knew. On January 15, 1974, 4 members of the Otero family were found dead in their home. Joseph Otero, his wife Julie, 2 of their children. The details were withheld from the public, but the police knew. Someone had entered the house that morning, someone methodical, someone who stayed. There were no more murders for several months. Then in April, a young woman named Catherine Bright was killed in her home. Her brother survived, though he was shot. He described the attacker, a man, calm, organized, but the description led nowhere. The case went cold. 3 years passed. Then, in March of 1977, Shirley Vian was killed in her home. Her children were locked at a closet. They were found alive hours later. In December of that same year, Nancy Fox was strangled in her bedroom. After her death, someone called the police. A man's voice, flat, almost polite. He told them where to find the body. He gave an address, then he hung up. The call was traced to a payphone, but the caller was already gone. In 1978, a letter arrived at a local television station. It was typed. Neat. It described the murders in detail. It was signed with 3 letters. BTK bind. Torture. Kill. The letter contained information only the killer would know. It also contained something else. A tone. Not angry, not raving, just explaining. As if the writer were filing a report. More letters followed, some to the media, some to the police. He corrected details in news reports. He suggested names for himself. He seemed to want recognition, not fame exactly, acknowledgement. In 1979, another letter, a poem about one of the victims, written in simple verse, almost childlike, and then for years, nothing, silence. No letters, no murders. Investigators believed he might be dead or in prison for something else. The case remained open, but it grew cold again. Years became decades. Dennis Rader continued his life. He raised his children. He attended church functions. He enforced city ordinances. People who knew him said he was rigid, humorless. He would cite neighbors for the smallest infractions. A dog off a leash. Trash cans left out too long. He took photographs as evidence. He kept meticulous records. He seemed to enjoy the authority, the rules. At home, he was distant. His wife later said he was controlling, not violent, just absent in a way. Present, but not there. His daughter remembered him as a normal father, strict, predictable. He coached her softball team. He attended her school events. Nothing seemed wrong. In 2004, the Wichita Eagle published an article. It marked 30 years since the Otero murders. The article questioned whether BTK was still alive. A few weeks later, a new letter arrived at the newspaper. Inside was a photocopy of a driver's license and a photograph, evidence from a 1986 murder, a case that had never been connected to BTK. He was back. More letters followed. He sent packages to news stations, to the police. He left items in public places and called in their locations, a cereal box in a Home Depot parking lot, a package taped beneath a bridge. He seemed energized, playful, almost. He asked if a floppy disk could be traced. The police told him no. He sent one. The disk was examined. Deleted files were recovered, metadata. A document had been created on a computer at Christ Lutheran Church in Wichita. The last user logged in, Dennis. Police searched the church website. They found the name of the congregation president, Dennis Rader. A DNA sample was obtained from his daughter's medical records. It was a partial match, close enough. On February 25, 2005, Dennis Rader was stopped while driving near his home. He was arrested without incident. When questioned, he confessed, calmly, completely. He described each crime in detail. He corrected investigators when they got facts wrong. He seemed almost relieved. During his confession, Rader spoke about what he called his projects. That was his word, projects. He had kept drawings, photographs, detailed plans for murders he never committed. He stored them in his office, in his home, in a filing cabinet. He described his process, how he selected victims, how he watched them, how he waited. He called the urge Factor X, something he said he was born with, something he could not control. He spoke the way someone might describe a medical condition, detached, clinical, as if it were happening to someone else. At trial, Rader pleaded guilty. Kansas had no death penalty at the time. He was sentenced to 10 consecutive life terms, 175 years. His family had no idea. His wife filed for divorce. His children stopped speaking to him. His church expelled him. Neighbors were interviewed. They all said the same thing. He seemed normal, boring, nothing unusual. Dennis Rader is alive. He is incarcerated in Kansas. He has given interviews from prison. In them, he sounds much as he did during his confession, calm, precise. He discusses his crimes as if reviewing a checklist. He has expressed no remorse, not exactly. He has said he feels sorry for the victims' families. But it sounds like something he knows he is supposed to say, not felt, just known. There is something unsettling in the contradiction. The man who tied perfect knots in a victim's bindings also tied perfect knots in a Boy Scout rope demonstration. The same care, the same precision. He measured grass and enforced rules about trash. He filed complaints. He demanded order. And at night in private, he created chaos. He lived both lives without conflict, without confusion, as if they existed in separate rooms of the same house. The dark is still here. The story is finished. But it does not end. Because somewhere in a cell, a man is sleeping. A man who installed security systems in strangers' homes. A man who led children in songs around a campfire. A man who wrote letters signed with 3 letters. And in the morning, he will wake. And the day will be ordinary, just like it always was.